Alright, so next up we have Time to Seek by AI Sin, or iSin. There's not much time left for this game jam. I believe it's only like 2 days or so left. But I really wanted to get this one done because Sin here has been so vocal in this whole thing. I felt like it was only right to at least make a video. All the other ones I might have to just play offline, and then maybe I'll show like the ones I really like. I just didn't have the time. But regardless, I really wanted to show this one off because he's just been so vocal. Now, for the most part, he's already gotten a lot of like valid criticism from a lot of people already, especially Drifty, who's one of the judges. So I feel like I would be treading the same ground if I just end up repeating half the stuff these people have ended up saying. So hopefully this video is short. I just want to hit on the like very important beats I think that are major flaws within the game. Speaking of which, if you haven't done it already, only 2 days left, but play and rate the Compass Star. Look at us, we're at number 5, we're the 5th one in there, and this is all thanks to you guys. So again, if you haven't, go play it, check it out, give it a rating whether you loved it or hated it. Alright, so here we are, Time to Seek. First and foremost, I'm more of an aesthetic person. When it comes to gameplay, I'm like, whatever. You know, it's kind of subjective. But aesthetic is really important to me. And when I look at RPG Maker games, a lot of them don't have their own identity. This right here, this island, it might not be default. I honestly don't remember. I can double check right now. It is not. Right here, it's the sky one. So as always, make something new. I understand it takes time, but anything is better than nothing in my opinion. And then it's just, you know, regular Time to Seek and regular font. Again, like the visual aesthetic is really, I think, what changes RPG Maker from being like just your average RPG Maker game to something special. So we're gonna go to new game, but in reality, I already have a few save files. We're just gonna jump around with these. So we have Tulu here. No, let's go touch the stars. Very direct about the theme of the whole thing. I heard if you touch the stars, you get a bunch of toys to play with. Really now? What did you burn? Never mind. I guess this is a good time as any to let Nara train a little. This will be fun. Hurry. Nara, we're gonna go touch some stars. We're totally gonna die if we do that, but if it's mom and aunt. So, again, these characters, I don't know anything really about them. You have a shopkeeper also by here, who is done in a different art style. My real question is, did you draw this art, or is this just like some art you commissioned or whatever? Because they're nice, but I would just not have included this one at all, just to avoid clashing art styles, unless you already have multiple art styles in the game, right? So if one character is specifically drawn a certain way, like mobile games, right? A lot of mobile games have guest artists draw their characters and stuff like that. So FGO is the first one that comes to mind, obviously. In this case, you know, just keeping one cohesive identity, I think, is more important than just having other characters have character busts. And it's a game jam anyway, so it's not like people are expecting every character to be drawn anyway. So this character talks a bit too much for a shopkeep. There's too many redundancies here. Everything and then just by certain things. In reality, everything looks like this. It's not crazy big. It's still too big for like a game jam, and especially your intro shop is way too big in general. It's cool that she says you didn't even buy anything. Let's see, anything else? Over here we have a pile of wood. Anything that's interactable, I would just add like some sort of icon to show that it's interactable. Inside this room is literally nothing. Just cut it. Seems pointless. You have to use Chekhov's gun. Like, if it's not important, just don't put it in there at all. If it doesn't serve any sort of supplement, then is really unnecessary. And a lot of this banks on these characters who have a lot of mystery behind them, right? They have a ton of mystery. Nothing about their characters really give off who they are. You have a farming mechanic, so if you grab an item here, grab some of these, they'll come back. So you have a little nice farming mechanic going on here based on the timer. So we go here, you wait, I think it's like 40 seconds. It says 40 seconds, right? So we're just going to give it a little bit of time and watch it come back, because they got this little nice animation going on. There you go, perfect. It looks really cool, really nice. I didn't remember getting any of the items. You go here and it says greens, it just says veggies. So let's try again, right? Because I've done this at least 3 times in my original playthrough, and it didn't look like the number increased. It didn't seem like it to me. So let's look again. Yeah, it didn't. So what's the point of it? Let's see if I can sell it. Maybe it's just like a hidden number thing. No, I mean, it's a cool mechanic, but it serves no purpose. Again, Chekhov's gun. If it's not important, just don't add it. So these stones are really what's protecting you. We're gonna go up here. Oh, you can just totally skip this event. There's an auto event right here. So you can totally skip it just by accident, I guess. A lot of stuff has happened in story lore, but it makes no sense to the player jumping into it. Like, I don't understand who these characters are. There's obviously a huge backstory behind it, but it's not being conveyed properly to me. And then you start off with 3 characters, always a very huge detriment. It's a hard thing to do starting off with multiple characters. We're gonna go ahead and get into a fight. So walk in the grass. In the grass there should be some sort of enemy somewhere. There we go. Alright, so this is one of my bigger gripes, your battle system. Now, I've already gone through it. There's a long explanation and a brief explanation. I feel like if you have to have a long explanation for the battle, then you've already had like a misstep. Each character should be able to be explained fairly simply. Now, we're just going to fight and then I'm going to run away just to show you the battle. So you have some of them who have special things like this, like Eldritch here. And it's cool on a surface level, but really doesn't add anything to the character. It doesn't add anything to the battle either. It doesn't really feel like anything, so we're gonna go ahead and just do a regular attack. All of the characters, not all of them, Tulu and Null do AoE attacks, but Null here has this stacking attack, which takes forever. In the game, you'll have a thing called Void, and Void is like a state for the enemies, and in this state, they can't take damage from people who are on, let's just call it the normal side. So you have the Void side and the normal side, and they intermingle with each other. So when you're normal, you can't hurt Void enemies, but when you're Void, you can hurt Void enemies, and vice versa. So I like the idea, like, on its face value, but there's so much going on that it undermines that original Void gameplay mechanic, and they poisoned us, which is always terrible. Then you have Nara here, who is supposed to be a more intricate character, but in reality, she's the worst character. There's really no reason to want to use her when Tulu and Null can deal out so much more damage. I'm sure Nara, with her use, if you use her properly, battles go by even quicker, but it's more of an annoyance than anything, because when you use cube change, so let's say you want to switch cubes, then she wastes her turn, which is why this action battle gauge, the time one, is antiquated. We need to just get rid of it. Like, this is for anyone who's making RPG Maker games. Just don't use it. No one wants to go through it. People want to plan out their turns. They want to be able to just do it. And that's just more of a modern thing now. I understand, like, the greats back in the day used this kind of thing and it worked for them. But at that time, we didn't have such advancements in these systems. This nowadays, it just doesn't work. Especially when Nara, she just pretty much essentially wastes a turn. These characters are fast in general, our protagonists, and they normally act before the enemies, but a wasted turn is still a wasted turn. It's not going to come off nice to the player when they're playing it. You have Null again. She has Tentacle, Stockpile, Use Gifts. I feel like Use Gifts and Stockpile is redundant. You really just don't need these. Narratively wise, these just don't make any sense. I have no reason to know why she would be able to do this, and that's the biggest general issue. Is there's so much. Look at the tentacles. Look how much stuff we have here. This is a lot of information to take in, right? Instead of just gaining 2 new skills or whatever. And most people are just going to glaze by this anyway. They're going to glaze by, they're going to look, and they're kind of going to forget. So again, like, the player isn't going to use a majority of these things. So only add the ones that are important. If you have this much option, well, there better be a damn good reason to use it. So in fact, we're just going to go ahead and escape. Which is what I did for a majority of the game, unfortunately, because the battles just went on too long. And whatever systems and mechanics, they were never taught naturally. Oh yeah, we're poisoned, I forgot. So another thing, when you're poisoned, you heal, it closes the menu for whatever reason. So when you have multiple characters, you would have to go antidote and then all of them. So that's it for this portion. We're going to go ahead and jump to a different save file. There's a creepy laugh when you load the game too, by the way. Pretty cool, I guess. This area itself was in complete darkness. You have to use an item called the Light Potion, which when I was looking through the comments, most people seem to not pick this up. But yeah, it's right there, and they say it in dialogue, use the Light Potion. But in that case, just call forth the icon when you tell the player use a light potion, and maybe even highlight the text. So there you go. That's that. This area itself is like a Pokemon cave. Someone already said that in your comments also. It's insane how common the encounters are. There's no reason for that many encounters to happen. And look at this. Six enemies. 6 of them. Like, to be able to dispatch of normal mob enemies should take maybe what? 1 to 2 minutes at max? Like, at max. Like, boss battles are fine. Boss battles can be long, which is why my game has boss battles. I've adjusted it. I agree that my boss battles were a bit too long, so I've adjusted them to have less health. But regardless, RPG Maker games are notorious for having terrible grindiness with their mobs. Sometimes just to the point of being really unbalanced. And this particularly one is just unbalanced. So we're just going to get out of here. I don't want to fight 6 enemies. The maze itself has no auto run events to tell you that you're progressing in the right area. No cutscenes or anything to just say, hell yeah, you're going the right way. So here's another thing. We have void enemies too, which is cool. Like, again, the void thing is cool on its like surface level. But I think it was just underplayed here. Or underutilized, I guess is a better way. Normally, I would just use Tulu here to deal more damage with Light Punch because it lowers defensive enemies. And then I would just kind of whack away. That's really what I did. And again, you just don't want that in your game. You don't want people to do that. I don't want to deal with void enemies because they're annoying to deal with. I should have just showed you why, though. Let me show you why. I'm pretty sure they'll show up again. These are not void enemies. At least I don't think they are. These gems, they block your way. I would say give the player some gems to sell or something like that. Void, yeah, there you go, Void Shadow. So, let's go ahead and fight. We're going to go ahead and attack. 0 damage, because remember, it's a stacking attack. So, she just does 0 the whole time through. Again, most players are going to forget that tutorial that you presented them. They're just going to forget it or ignore it. So they're going to see they're doing 0 damage. They're going to be like, what the hell am I doing wrong? Am I not supposed to attack it? And they'll maybe try 1 to 2 times and then they'll give up. And then they'll just, either escape or just turn the game off in the worst case scenario. And it was very little steps, but here we are at another fight. Alright, so we're at this beach area, which has these starfish enemies. Now, we can't escape. We can't get away from these enemies at all. Something I was doing the whole time, and all of the mob enemies in this area are like this. And the biggest thing is, they're all like high in health, like 1,000 damage. Why would an enemy have to have more than 1,000 HP? Like realistically, like it makes sense that your player has a lot of HP, but the enemy should never have that much HP. Like, look how much this dude is racking. Dude, no, it's a girl, obviously. But look how much we're racking in damage, and they're just not dead yet, right? You expect a regular enemy to just die within a few regular attacks. And then Nara again, I just don't want to use her. But Nara has one of the best ultimates, which are random chances, by the way. Ultimates randomly happen, but she has one of the best ones, which freeze enemies, and then when you hit them, they get done in with a lot of damage. So like, sometimes I was fighting the boss prior to this one. It's like I was waiting for the ultimate to happen because it's random happen chance, but I just wanted it to happen. That way I finished the boss in one hit. Again, I just wouldn't agree for that. And she does like no damage. I just wanted to show it off. And then our characters die particularly easily too. So we're not even fighting void enemies in this case, but like in like maybe another 2 hits, Nola's dead. Not even 2. In a lucky hit, she's just dead next turn. Look, there you go. She almost died there. So like I said, in 2 hits she'll die. And you have the items, of course, you can just use those. But like, no one wants to just throw items at a character. Like, not right off the bat. Right? In the first beginning part of the game, you want to feel particularly powerful if you're fighting mob enemies. Again, if it's a boss, it's totally different. But these are just random enemies that in like maybe another 12 steps, I'm going to have to fight them again and to do this whole process over again. They're still now not dead. Around 3,000 or so damage has been applied to these guys already. And if the world made sense enough to justify why these enemies were so strong, because these girls are strong. They're really strong. They're using eldritch things and they're all sorts of powerful. But it never feels justified at all. So you can hold the Z or enter button and it'll speed up that process, but again, it's just a lot. I don't know. Like, look at that, another 1,000, another 1,000. Do these guys have like 8,000 health or something like that? Like, normally a regular mob enemy has 30% to 50% more HP than the player character's suggested level. Look at that, 800, 900, they're still not down yet though. And like, flipping to the void, like let's say this one, right? So now she's a void, she's on the void side. Let's see if Light Punches kills everyone though, before this battle. Nope, still around. Like, these dudes have a lot of HP. So now she does 0 damage, which it should just be a lower amount of damage, to be honest. See how much damage that does. 28, 24. Like, literally nothing. But if she attacks, I believe she'll do 0 damage also. So it's like a catch-22, but in the worst way possible. Like, there's no gain to that. And so I end up using Tulu for half the time because she's just so reliable on defeating enemies. So you have a monster starfish here. Like, these starfish already have a lot of HP. I do like the Shining Star, like the big call, the boss name call, but like, insane. This so in reality, I'm just hoping her ultimate kicks in at some point in time. So we're gonna fast forward. Six damage. 6 damage. Yeah, there we go. Permafrost Cube. This is the one that it pretty much wins the fight. Well, now we just do regular attack. Look how much damage we're about to do. How much is that?
No, that's a lot of damage!
A billion damage. A literal billion damage. So the shop definitely needs a jump back to a label. You go to everything because you misclick. Go back. It needs to jump back to, what do you want to do? I'm assuming that... Okay, that event plays again, by the way. I've already seen that event. So there's a bug there. Another shopkeeper. So anyway, I'll let you guys play the rest for yourself. So that's it for Time to Seek. Again, you've gotten a lot of feedback already from people, and I feel like this one's a bit late, but at the end of the day, I still wanted to do it because you're so vocal in this whole game jam. And of course, without your help, I wouldn't have made improvements to my game, and I'm re-releasing it as like a new product, like the Compass Star Plus Edition. So like, it's going to be really good. But what this game really needs is to be cut down to like even more simpler mechanics. And then you add on top of it. I think the void mechanic is totally fine. I think it works perfectly. But everything else is a detractor to it. Particularly, I wouldn't say like there's fixing needs to be done. I think you would have to just start over. And especially like for the maps, like especially the cave map, right? Like this one right here. This one I think you should change a lot. It's very, very generic. What you can do is this. So these are my like regular maps for another game that I'm working on. And they're all done via parallaxing. The whole game, like none of these assets are actually like in-game assets. The only thing in my tile map thing is a green tile and a red tile. And that just says where the player can go and where they can't go. And then after I finish applying the green and red tiles, then I make them transparent and keep their identity, such as they can step on this or they can't step on this. And all of this is done in an image editor. And I just like edit the image and kind of put everything where I want it to be. That way it makes sense and it looks good. And it allows me to be a bit more free with everything. Like I can place things offset on the floor all over the place. I can multiply them, whatever. I can change their colors. Like these were green originally. Or even I can make these bigger or whatever. I think most people should probably be doing it this way anyway. I think there are limitations in general with the tile sets and how they work. I mean, they made it way better with the update, with the layering and stuff. For more freedom, I think it's better to use an image editor. And I use Clip Studio Paint. Like all of these are, I think this is the original color, but like I can change the color of all of them. And do whatever I want. Like I can offset these devices, put them on the floor, all over, all types of stuff like that. It's a bit of a creative thing, but I think it'll inevitably help everyone's game. Like here's the original one, right? I just put the tiles down, and then I save it as an image, resize it to however big the map should be, and then I color things, and here's like the finished result. It's just a little different, but with a little bit of texture, things pop out just a little bit more. And then even now, I'm going to redo these also to make them look even better. Like these are my first attempts. You know, even ones like this where I can add like a pixelated background. This fence was like purple or whatever, and I changed it to yellow with a little orange gradient, as you can see right there. Or maybe you can't. Maybe it's a little bit more obvious now. Parallaxing and editing the map is, I think, the way to go. And like I said, this isn't even done. There's so much more I can do now, and that I've learned. So I would really just suggest this kind of thing. Otherwise, I guess that's about it. As always, there's 2 days left. If you haven't done it already, go rate the Compass Star. We're number 5. Number 5. How much does Final Glow have? 26. We're not going to beat it. But at the end of the day, I thank everyone for rating and playing my game. I really, really appreciate it. And again, stay tuned. If you're not doing it already, follow me on itch.io. I'll be re-releasing the Compass Star as a new version. There's going to be new art, new battles. The whole game's rebalanced. So I think people will really enjoy it, especially the second time around. If you played it just once to completion, maybe a second playthrough will help you out. And you'll find things that you haven't seen before. There's even a special hidden boss for those who made choices that, from what I've seen, most players did not make. So if you can find that, even cooler. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Peace out.